In this episode, I'll share with you what you truly want. Hey there, it's Michael. Welcome to the Kintsugi Podcast, a show about helping survivors of physical trauma heal and reclaim their strength and resilience through the art and wisdom of Kintsugi. I know in the world we live in, the world of social media and blog posts and podcasts, that the playbook is all about giving you a list. The 5 things you can do tomorrow, or the 10 things you should have done yesterday. But in this episode, I'm going to share one thing with you. It was the biggest thing I discovered during my recovery, and I was chasing after it for decades until I went through what I went through. And you might be chasing after it right now. It's the one thing you truly want. But before we get into it, I want to say thank you for being here. And when I say this, I mean it. As one survivor to another, I know showing up isn't easy. And on some days, we don't feel like showing up, but we find a way to do so anyway. So the fact that you're here says a lot. So thank you for showing up, and thank you for being a survivor. All right, if you're ready, let's take a healthy breath in and a slow, releasing breath out. And let's dive into this week's episode and discover the one thing you truly desire. There was a time in my life, I think it was around 7th grade, when I started doing some math, and I was also learning about the birds and the bees, sex ed. And I began to realize that each year my parents celebrated their anniversary number that they were celebrating was the same number as my birthday that year. But here's the rub. They were celebrating their anniversary in April, and I was celebrating my birthday in September. Not exactly 9 months. So I drew the conclusion that I wasn't wanted, that I was a mistake. And I started to weave this crazy story that I had to do something to prove I was worthy, to do something that would convince them that they wanted me, even though I knew that they loved me. I was raised in a good family. So as I wrote my story and rewrote it, I pulled in data points that supported my thesis, that I wasn't wanted, that I wasn't worthy. And then I behaved like I wasn't worthy. And I thought, once I did something really amazing, I would prove I was worthy. And if I was worthy, then I could be happy. So I started chasing happiness, and I continued to write this story that I wasn't good enough. But I thought, since my dad and I both love sports, that if I could go pro in something, then that would be the ticket. Then I would prove to everyone how worthy I was, and then I would be happy. And I was pretty good at baseball and basketball and bowling. Yes, I said bowling, and even cycling, but I wasn't good enough to go pro. And when I realized I wasn't good enough, in my mind, I failed, which then just gave my story even more fuel. And like your favorite song on Spotify, my story was on repeat. It played over and over again. Through college, through the start of my professional career, and it was even with me during the early phases of my recovery. There I was, broken apart in 1,000 places, feeling like a burden to others because now look what I did. But still, at the same time, feeling grateful for everyone who came to my aid, who saved my life that day, a life that I believed wasn't worthy of saving. So I had all these different emotions. As the kids would say, I was feeling all the feels. But I thought if I could heal, if I could get better, which I wanted to do, no doubt in my mind, because I wanted to get back home. I wanted to feel whole again. But I thought if I could heal, or when I heal, and I did something amazing, I would prove to the world and prove to them and to myself that I was worthy, that my life was worthy of saving. And then I could be happy. But what I discovered in my recovery, after decades of chasing it, chasing my happiness, is that I was already worthy. I was already loved. That I didn't have to chase my happiness. That worthiness is unconditional. And that's true for me. And you know what? It's also true for you. You don't have to prove you're worthy. You are already worthy because you're here. Simply put, we all want to feel heard, seen, and loved. And this next thing that I'll share with you is important. So I hope you'll listen. This is not linear. This journey that we're on, we go uphill and downhill, we crisscross, we go sideways. So as we go through something, when we need to recover, it's easy to backtrack, to go back to that old story that we're not wanted, that we're a burden, that we're broken. It's natural. We are human. But I'll say this, once we can remove, as I say, those rocks in our backpack, the story may come back, but it doesn't last as long. It's not as intense. We can recognize it. We can change the story we tell ourselves. We can remember that we are worthy, that we are heard, that we are seen, we are loved. And all of this starts at home with us. That our worthiness comes from within. It doesn't come from external forces, as I once believed. I realized through my recovery that I could look at myself, at my wrinkles and my scars and my blemishes and all of my imperfections and still conclude that I am worthy. And again, so are you. Full stop. We are worthy because we are here. Here's what took decades for me to understand. And it was only through my recovery when it sunk in, when I totally got it. And I'm sharing it with you to save you some time searching for it. Here's the thing. We all have wants. We want to make money. We want nice things. We want to have experiences. It's all natural. You're human. I'm human. There's nothing wrong with wanting things. But all the things that we want, all the White Lotus experiences that we want to live, or that Instagram moment that we want to capture and post, sure, they'll make you happy for a bit. But the feeling of being loved, the feeling of true happiness that stays, that comes from within. And it's not in the hands of someone else. No. The people around us, they don't get to decide our worthiness. They don't have control over the feeling we can give ourselves. When we look ourselves in the mirror and we see all of it, the strength, the blemishes, the wrinkles, the gray hairs, the scars, and we see them all, as Kintsugi teaches us, they are golden symbols of our strength and resilience. This is what we all truly want, the feeling of being loved. And you can give yourself that feeling right now because you are loved and you are worthy. And you're also a badass survivor. So again, thanks for being here. I shared one thing with you today, one thing I discovered that took me years of chasing to finally grasp, that I don't have to do anything special to feel loved, because I can give myself that feeling, and so can you, because you are loved. Thanks again for being here. And as you know, I don't say that lightly. And if you wish to learn more about creating beautiful ripples and how to prevent a bad moment from turning into a bad day, please visit my website, which is michaelobrienshift.com, and sign up for my newsletter called The Ripple Effect. And I hope you'll join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:11 a.m. here on the Kintsugi Podcast and discover how we can all celebrate our scars as golden symbols of strength and resilience. Until then, remember, you can always come back to your breath. You've got this, and we've got you.